Hi guys, my name is Cortland Jacoby and I'm here for Punch Drunk Critics. I am sitting down talking to the co-writers and director and producer, Jeff Rosenberg and Laura Jacqmin from We Broke Up. Guys, how are you today?
Good.
Wonderful.
Awesome. Laura and Jeff, you guys met in musical, or not musical, in middle school. And speaking from experience, the friends you make during that time when you're at your most awkward are most likely the ones you will have the rest of your life. What kind of drew you guys together originally at that time?
I think we were really drawn together by a mutual desire to like tell scripted stories. There where we went to high school in Shaker Heights, Ohio, there's a play like this. There's student written and directed one act plays. So we were in a playwriting class together in high school. We met in middle school, but it was once we started writing plays together and seeing each other's work on stage. Then ultimately our senior year, we did a senior project together where we specifically directed each other's one act shows. And then we just stayed in touch through the years as we both sort of continued working and had similar goals and aspirations. And then so I got to a point where I had this idea for this movie. I had two characters sitting in a car with the words "we broke up," and that was what I knew about it. I wanted it to be sort of even-handed, so that neither character was the villain. I wanted to carry both characters as protagonists. So Laura was in LA meeting for some staff writing TV jobs, and we sat down. I said, "Do you want to write a movie with me?" She said, "Yes." I said, "Do you want me to tell you what it's about?" And she said, "I don't care." And then we started writing a movie.
Laura, what drew you to a middle school, high school Jeff?
It's so funny. We were so different. And the Venn diagram of our intersection was quite narrow. Our friend groups did not overlap at all. I would say Jeff was like in the cool jock group, but he was also the funny guy as part of, I think he was like a non-sports playing friend with jocks, basically.
I wanted to play sports. I just
You
wasn't very
wanted to
good
play
at them.
sports. No talent for sports, Jeff Rosenberg. Yeah,
Fair.
fair enough. And I was very self-serious and he was very funny. And so I think that inherent contrast in our styles and sensibilities actually made us a really good match. And so I remember even when we were both in college, we would send each other work and give honest feedback to each other. And quite often we were coming at it from, I'd say, well, this isn't really my area. This isn't really my skill set, giving feedback on like broad fantastical comedies, but here's my best attempt. And I think when we met at that fateful meeting at the Umami Burger in Hollywood all those years ago, I think we hadn't seen each other for about 5 years. And what was so fascinating was that we were both at very similar places in our lives, sort of romantically and professionally, where he had been in a long-term relationship with the woman he ultimately married and now has two children with. And I'm still with my boyfriend of 15 years and we are happily not married. And so, Doug's sort of POV in the movie, I think has a lot in common with Jeff's, whereas I'm sort of more of a Lori. And so I think both in terms of our contrasting artistic styles as well as where we were in our lives, it made for a perfect sort of mesh about this relationship of a couple at a crossroads.
Jeff, you mentioned that you had this idea back in 2012 and then you guys met in 2013 to talk about it. How different is the final product to that original idea?
I think structurally it's fairly similar. I don't think that part changed. I think in, the negative space between when we made the movie and when we first talked about it, I worked on a lot of film and television and had an independent film come out. And then Laura is a co-EP on multiple television shows. So I think just our understanding of how to build and actually execute making a film increased by such a large margin that what we ended up doing once we realized like, oh, this movie's actually going to happen, we took a few weeks and started meeting daily to essentially plus the script and use our sort of learned skills about both writing and structure and then just the production process to maximize, I think, the film, which I'm so thankful happened, because I think the final product is so much stronger because of that.
And it was our first time working on it in the same room, which was hugely important. So I was working on this Netflix show called One Piece at the time. Jeff would drive down after my workday was done, and we would just sort of camp out in the office, just sort of working together on the script, pitching jokes, pitching alts, changing scenes around. And I think that was when the script really started to feel alive, where we're like, okay, we've got good bones, but finally at the end of this few weeks, we have something that we know we can shoot.
Is there a like joke or bit that the other person wrote that you guys are like still in awe by or really, really proud of?
Oh, wow. That's a good question.
I mean, my favorite one that Laura wrote that I circled and put about 18 exclamation points was that B was so excited to get married where she got her first period. I was like, I never would have written it.
Oh man, yeah, that would have been at my aunt's house. That wasn't fun. Yeah.
I wish I would be so proud of myself, because I have, I grew up with older sisters. I would have been so proud of myself because I could have written that joke, but I didn't.
You didn't.
Yeah.
But had I, it was just perfect. I was so excited when I
So
read
good.
that.
I love that joke. It's a really, really good one. Aya Cash and William Jackson Harper bring so many interesting undertones from the script out onto the screen, and their performances are so layered and wonderful. Did you know immediately that those two actors were your Laurie and Doug? Jeff, I know you worked with William on The Good Place for a while.
I would say in the moment that I would say there was a clear, definitive moment when I pictured both of them in those characters where I was unable to not see that. So from the first moment that our casting directors, Amanda and Chrissy, brought up Aya to me, I threw on an episode of You're the Worst with her in mind, and it was about 30 seconds into the episode. I was just like, yep, Aya is Laurie, and thankfully she wanted to do it. And then Will, I have a deeper history with Will beyond The Good Place, in that my friend Gwen, and then the rest of my friends used to do theater with him in New York. So when I wound up on The Good Place with Will, I was like, you look really familiar. And it was from like photos on Facebook of their plays. And so pretty much I realized very quickly, oh, Will would be perfect for Doug. I was just waiting until I knew the financing was in place, because we're friends. So I didn't want him to like get excited and then I have to like see him on set and he's like, what's happening with that movie? And I'm like, I'm trying. So
especially since The Good Place was like ending. So yeah.
Yes, exactly. So it was thankfully we knew we had financing between season 3 and 4 of The Good Place is when I knew this is going to happen and I'm going to offer the lead part to Will. I had like a 3-month period where I was just waiting for us to start shooting, because I knew he wasn't available, because I'm literally making him not available because of The Good Place. So I'm basically I'm telling Laura, I'm like, and like the producers, I'm like, okay, we start shooting on Monday. I'm going to probably wait until Wednesday to go up to Will and tell him I put a script in your trailer. Aya Cash is attached to play the other lead, and I want you to be the lead. And so that's essentially what I did. And I'm sure Will has things like that happen to him quite often. And thankfully, he read the script the following weekend and wrote me and was like, oh, this is actually real and really good. And yes, I want to be in it. So from that point forward, it was just figuring out when the schedule worked for the two of them.
Obviously you have Aya Cash and William Jackson Harper, but your supporting cast is also stellar, like one of the most strong supporting casts I've seen this year, with the great Terry Gilpin and Sarah Bolger, and obviously I mentioned earlier Tony Calavero, who he's actually from my hometown, so that's kind of cool. And his speech at the end is just awesome. Tell me how important it was to get such a strong supporting cast, and did they bring anything else to the film other than like that wasn't in the script?
Oh God, so much. So much. I mean, Jeff can speak more to, he was more involved in the on the ground sort of casting of everyone else. Some people were folks that we pulled in, like Kobe LeBee, who plays, one of Tony's Tony's character's friend group. He's the one in the suspenders on Paul Bunyan Day. Kobe and I have been friends since college. So he had sort of only grown in terms of like an improver and a performer and a writer. And I just knew that Kobe is somebody who you want on every single project of yours. But Tony was like, Tony is a ball of sunshine. He's the most positive person we've ever met. He's just so sunny and incredible. And he came into a meeting with Jeff and just slayed it. I'll let Jeff tell that bit.
Yeah, I mean, so Tony had a relationship with our casting directors. He knew Mason Novick, our producer, and then our other producer, John. And then I'm a huge fan of Righteous Gemstones. And then I'm a good friend of Emily Pendergast, who's also in the movie from The Groundlings. So she knows Tony as well. So when we were looking for just like a born on the wrong planet, super positive energy kind of guy, it was pretty obvious that I should meet with Tony. And just, I mean, when he walked in the room, he just radiates any room he's in. And he's like, so do you want me to do the monologue right now? Because I would want me to do the monologue because I wouldn't trust me. So do you want to hear it? And I was like, yeah, of course. And so he just stands up. He's completely off book and just does the speech. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, this is Jason. And then Sarah Bolger was a funny one because I did the pilot of Mixology for ABC with her. And I absolutely loved working with her. But when we get sent I get sent the audition, I'm like, they're like, oh, our casting director's like, oh, you need to watch this self-tape from this actress, Sarah Bolger. I'm not sure if you know her. I'm like, not only do I know who she is, I know her personally. Like, we're friends. And so again, I watch it for about 5 seconds just to see her take on the character and just the idea, because she is an equal ball of sunshine. And just the idea of the two of them in a movie with Will and Aya having an existential crisis about their relationship was just so entertaining to me, because it was, you know, Jason and B, ultimately, I feel like they're kind of in their own broad rom-com. And the movie itself, you know, at times can be a little serious and a little dour. And just in the middle of it, you just have these two just like rays of sunshine, just with their just huge amount of love just permeating the screen, which I think works really well and juxtaposes the two relationships.
And you believe them so much, you know, that you have this longtime couple on the one side of it, and then you have this couple who've only been together for a few months on the other side, and you believe both of them completely. So that contrast, I think, was really important to us.
Definitely. And it worked really, really, really well. That's the best part of it. Guys, thank you so much for meeting with me and talking with me. Good luck on the film.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for checking out the show. If you like what we're laying down, please subscribe to our channel and click the bell to receive notifications for all of our latest stuff.